Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to today's episode on Dangerous African Confessions HD. In this episode, we have the continuation of the story from our sister Sarah, where she shares with us her life journey and how any man she meets and settles down with dies. She tells us how life has been so unfair and difficult for her. She explains to us how and why any man who comes home to seek her hand in marriage ends up dying in a mysterious way.
Only me, a young lady. In about 2 to 3 years, I have married twice and all the men are dead. This was a bad omen for me. So, I became a church rat. My life was all about church. From my work, then to church. That was all the life I knew. During this time, something funny started happening to me. I don't know where it came from. I started having this strong feeling for my pastor. This was the same pastor that officiated my 2 marriages. One day, I went to him in the house and told him that I liked him and wanted us to make love. He laughed and told me that he knew I would come asking for that. I didn't take the comment he made serious. All I cared was to quench the fire that was burning in me, which was to sleep with him. So, we started having a romantic affair. And in no time, I was pregnant. After I told them the whole truth, the prophet then revealed to me why my 2 husbands died. He asked if my pastor asked me to bring an inner of my first husband to him when I first met him. And I said yes. My pastor said that he was going to do some directions for me so that the man will remain only for me. This sounded good to me, so I gave him a singlet of my first husband, who was then my boyfriend. What my pastor told me he was going to do was really not what he did. The prophet said that my pastor, instead of working just as he said, he decided to use the singlet to eliminate my first husband so that I will remain single. Apparently, he liked me, and didn't like the idea that someone has come to take me away. And so, he needed to take his life.
Please kindly subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload. As part of our policy, I've edited the names to hide their identity. Without wasting much of your time, let's go and listen to the story.
One day, I went to him in the house and told him that I liked him and wanted us to make love. He laughed and told me that he knew I would come asking for that. I didn't take the comment he made serious. All I cared was to quench the fire that was burning in me, which was to sleep with him. So, we started having a romantic affair. And in no time, I was pregnant. When I told him about the pregnancy, he asked me not to abort it. But then when I am asked who is responsible for it, I should tell them that my baby daddy is in USA. Because what has happened to me, I didn't want any marriage again. So, I have chosen to have a child and take care of my child without any marriage issues again. It sounded right in my ears. So, I kept the pregnancy. And for that, if you ask me about the father of the child, I will tell you same as the pastor had told me. I had my first child and we went on with our relationship till I had another child with him. My parents all this while were asking and telling me they wanted to see the man or talk to him. So, they at least will know the person responsible for my children. So, I told the pastor about it and he went in for a foreign number. As to how he got it, I tell you, I don't have any idea. So, he will call my parents and talk to them with the foreign number, acting like he is actually in USA. This went on till one day, I heard that he was about to get married. But then, this was a man who was not giving me enough money for our 2 children. He will always tell you that, in the right time when everything works out well, I will enjoy. Because I am the mother of his children. But here is this same man, my pastor who doubles as my boyfriend or something like that, about to get married to another woman. I didn't know whether I should confront him or not. Since whatever we were doing was in the dark. How was I going to explain it to my parents if they find out about my relationship with the pastor? I gathered courage and went to his house to ask him about what I was hearing. He told me it was not true and that, if he was going to get married to anyone, it should be me. because I am the one he has children with. After this encounter, I felt whatever I heard about that marriage as all lies. Until I saw an invitation on a friend's phone that had the pastor's name and one other lady in our church name on it. This hit me like something. So, I decided to pay him back big time. The idea was to surprise him at the wedding venue. I didn't make any sign or did anything for my friend to know that I was hurting inside. It was a day before his marriage and my father called me. He asked me to come home for there was something that needed to be discussed. I thought it was a normal family talk or something related to the family. I got there and realized the meeting was actually about me. Among the people gathered were my younger sister, uncle, my father and mother and this man that I did not know. My father asked me what I think I was hiding from the family. They wanted to know if there was anything bothering me that I felt I cannot share. I told them I don't have anything to hide from them. This man, that I later got to know as a prophet, started talking. He asked me that I should imagine me as a parent, and my daughter gets herself involved in a situation that I can help her solve with ease, but she decides to hide it from me. What will I do? It didn't occur to me at that point they were actually talking about me and the pastor and the children. So, I told the man that, right now as it has not happened to me, I wouldn't know the steps I would take. But obviously it will hurt me if I find out I could have helped her solve it. It was there that the man asked, then, why are you doing this to yourself and your family? He went on to tell me that he is a prophet of God. And that the Lord gave him a revelation about me. Apparently, it is his prayer camp that my mother goes to pray. That was how he got to know my parents. So, he called that he wanted to meet me with my parents. That is why they called me. He continued that, in the revelation, I had given birth for one particular man, and that the man responsible for the children is not the man I present to the world as the father of my children. I saw the shock in the faces of my family when the man said that. But then, he continued to say that the Lord God has sent him to warn me about the man. He said there was something deeper that he wanted to tell me. But I should first be honest with my parents about the father of my children. It was difficult for me, but I had no choice than to tell them the truth. Something I had hidden all these years. My first son was 5 years and the second was 2. So, I told my family all about my relationship with my pastor, telling them that he is the father of my 2 children. My father asked why, and who was the man that was sending them money and talking to them. I told them he uses that foreign number to act as someone who is in overseas. Then when I want to send them money, I make it look like it was actually the father of my children who is outside of the country that had sent them the money. It was there that my father realized the reason why I was always giving them stories about the man not getting the chance to come down and meet with them, but could come and impregnate me. After I told them the whole truth, the prophet then revealed to me why my 2 husbands died. He asked if my pastor asked me to bring an inner of my first husband to him when I first met him. And I said yes. My pastor said that he was going to do some directions for me so that the man will remain only for me. This sounded good to me, so I gave him a singlet of my first husband, who was then my boyfriend. What my pastor told me he was going to do was really not what he did. The prophet said that my pastor, instead of working just as he said, he decided to use the singlet to eliminate my first husband so that I will remain single. Apparently, he liked me, and didn't like the idea that someone has come to take me away. And so, he needed to take his life. He then said that, after my first husband died, my pastor did something for me to bath so that it will cleanse me from any evil and negative forces. He then gave me something to drink. I said yes. He then said that thing he made me to do killed my second husband. He said, when I drank the mixture, it was like a seed of death for any man that sleeps with me apart from himself. Reason why I didn't know why I started having feeling for him when my second husband died. The thing I bathed and drank was pulling me towards him. That was when I remembered and understood what he meant by saying, "I knew you will come." I was furious and devastated at the same time. The man responsible for all the pains I've been through is the one I was sleeping with and making babies for. I then told them about his decision to marry a different woman. This angered my father and uncle. They got up and said the meeting was over. My father said I should go and bring few of my things, for they are taking me to him and asking him to marry me. I told my father I won't marry him, knowing very well the things he has taken me through. I pleaded with them to understand me. Which later they understood me. With the help of the prophet. The prophet said he was going to take me through some directions and prayers to cleanse me from all the evil powers and hands the man has over. The day of his marriage came and I went to the place where they were having the traditional marriage and told everybody there that he is the father of my children. And he has promised to marry me. So, he cannot marry a different person, whilst I am having his children. The lady he was about marrying and his family, after hearing all that I wanted to say, walked out of the place. I went to him and told him I will never let him have peace. Knowing very well that he killed all my 2 husbands. He was taken by surprise to realize I know his secret. I walked away with my children. This is how I gave birth to 2 children with a pastor not knowing he is responsible for all my husband's death. Thank you for taking time to read my message. Looking forward to watching it on your space. Thank you and God bless you.
As I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. There is more to life than what we see with our naked eyes. So, if you're a Christian, Muslim, traditionalist, or any other religion that you belong to, please, my brother or sister, try and be closer to your Creator. So that, the protection that will spell away any demonic or spiritual manipulations will be fruitless in your life. It is never a good thing to be sleeping with a pastor, be it as he is fake or genuine. Once he has that title, my sister, make sure you're married to him, before you will allow him to see your nakedness. As a lady, it's good to live good and be treated like a queen. But in doing so, my sisters, let's be vigilant a little. Pray, meditate and do what your religion requires you to in order to be strong in the spirit. I hope we've all learnt 1 or 2 from the story. As I always say, we are not here to race with ourselves. So, please let's be mindful of the choices that we make. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thought with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share. See you again in our next video. Stay blessed and be safe.